The playoffs continue! We are in the winner bracket, and now we have the Raccoons making their first appearance in the playoffs. And I am absolutely here for it. This is one of the teams that I definitely wanted to see more of. We have them going up against Team Rip, who were already successful in the previous round. And this should get pretty epic. I'm super excited for this because this is another best of 5 series. The teams are now of course fighting for the 1,500 euros of prize money. We have a winners and a losers bracket. We are on the new patch. We've seen Asmodan played a bit more often, but we haven't seen the Raccoons on the new patch yet. Generally speaking, every single team that played in Group A has not been playing on camera on the new patch yet. Everybody else already has shown at least some of the ideas that they came in with. The patch changed obviously a lot of things, just the new needs for proper rotational play thanks to the reduction of the XP globe duration was already a big deal, of course, and there are so many other things. The Inspire mechanic with which you can now push on a minion wave is also another thing that has of course made a huge dent into the way that people play and also the way that team compositions were built. We have seen in this tournament, in the playoffs actually, some strategies that were already heavily centered around teams going for wave clear and just trying to out-rotate an opponent on a macro level and push structures down, and it worked really well. It was pretty epic to see that that macro focus worked. And at the same time, we still see plenty of team fights. So I gotta say that the patch hit a couple of really cool high notes and improved, for me personally, gameplay, where we now see macro play a bigger role. It is more important. The solo lane experience is more important. You have more of an impact there. And you also have to now just rotate a little bit more with intent and clearer along the map. You can't just simply go for those lazy rotations and pick up the lesser XP globes then later on. So there's a lot of things that the patch has done really well. I think the biggest criticism for people so far is the armor mechanic around forts and of course keeps, and the target priorities that have now shifted towards minions and summons whenever you are fighting around a fort or a keep. So that's still a little bit weird to me. I'm not quite sure what I should think about it. If I'm like, alright, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing, and that's usually also where people are very split when they're discussing the impact of the patch and what they feel has happened here, but we'll see. Now, Dino is going for Junkrat, and Junkrat has actually played a very big role in these macro approaches that I just highlighted a second ago. Junkrat can, with his mobility, easily jump between lanes and then just burn down a minion wave, attack from a distance the structures of the opponent, and therefore trigger the Inspire buff on your own minion wave. So that mobility gives Junkrat a lot of options. It's basically, we've seen a similar style with Sylvanas pre-patch that we now have with Junkrat. Now, if the hero is rising even more in priority and will soon be banned out early, that's obviously something to still be seen. A lot of these guys haven't shown all of their strategies yet in the new patch. That's one of the reasons why the playoffs here are going to be so exciting, because it will be a lot of fun to see what at the end of the day crystallizes itself as the new meta, the new top picks. But it's kind of cool also to have more picks like Asmodan, which Team Rip, for example, chose several times now. And then you have, of course, also the Raccoons, who generally surprised in all of the tournaments that they played in so far. Disciple has been playing a lot with Coffin Girl, so he essentially made Orphea part of the meta, at least for some teams. And in this case, they're actually banning out Zeratul because Ubi plays a mean Zeratul and they could always swap Hogger over to someone else. But I'm very intrigued to see what the Raccoons are going to do here. There's a couple of teams where I really want to find out what they are prioritizing now, if they have a cheesy strategy up their sleeves where they're trying to exploit the new meta. We've seen Illidan as an approach. We have seen one Viking game by now too, but I would love to see a bit more from both of those heroes if teams think that they can make them work. And, well, I guess we're gonna figure that out soon. In this case, though, Orphea gets picked. I just talked about her and about Disciple, and we have Diablo up at the front line. So gonna start getting those wall stuns around the shrines, and Diablo is gonna bully people around. And, well, hopefully for them, it's gonna work out. We talked about skins the other day also in some of the YouTube videos, and I honestly think that every single hero deserves a baby skin. I would absolutely love that. Finally, the Probius build. Guys, we finally have the Probius build. I was waiting for that for way too long. Awesome. So this is something that was banned out against Team Rip over and over again from teams that scrimmed against it. Finally, we're going to see the Probius strategy for Team Rip. My expectations at this point, because all of the bans are high, so if they now just get absolutely slaughtered, that would be a huge disappointment, but it should still be tons of fun. Inferno Shrine's our first map. Let's go. It's a best of 5 series here in the winner bracket of the playoffs. We have the Raccoons going up against Team Rip. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. We get the Probius build for Team Rip finally. So, over on the left side, the Raccoons with Disciple on his trademark hero playing Ophir. We got Scorch on Brightwing, Ubi on Hogger, Falstad is getting played by Morenas, and we got Lopaka on Diablo. On the right side of the map, Team Rip with Vasilisco on Rhaegar. We got Krankle on Jojo, Dino on Junkrat. His rotations are going to be something to keep an eye on, because he definitely drove previous opponents near madness with them. Sven on Leoric, and then Cesarbos on Probius. Now I should highlight in the same moment that we had Cesarbos. Cesarbos is basically playing the oddball heroes for the team. So when they decided to play Asmodan, he was also the one to play Asmodan here. But just in case that you haven't watched any of the previous matches, the reason why Probius is such an exciting pick here is that normally we don't get to see Probius at all. But there are some teams that scrimmed against Team Rip that are banning Probius every single map when they go up against the red team. So it definitely stands to reason that that Probius strategy was highly successful in scrims for them, and that they were really eager to also showcase that, of course. And so far, they haven't had that chance. So now we see Cesarbos on Probius, and we're going to see how that's going to work out for them. Gather Minerals on level 1 as our first talent, and this should be a fun one. Probius has actually been played in the past every once in the blue moon on Tomb the Spider Queen and also on Inferno Shrine. So these are just generally maps where we have seen some Probius play very, very rarely. And most of the time actually in the context of a tournament where you had pick restrictions, draft restrictions, like every hero can only be played once. So once that you're moving into game number 4, game number 5 of the series, obviously your choices are a bit more limited, and heroes like Probius become more interesting. This tournament has no draft restrictions, so while you can pick from the entire pool, Team Rip believes that their best choice here is to play that strategy, and that's the reason why I can't wait to see how this is going to work out for them. So we have the teams both rotating between the lanes. The top lane has been established between Leo and Falstad so far. We have for Ophir, Backbiter on level 4 now, and Probius is continuing with Turbocharge after initially going into Gather Minerals, as already called out. 2 minutes in, so teams will go for the camps quickly to make sure that they're ready for the first objective phase. The shrine is spawning at the bottom of the map this time. Now, obviously, we had the minions just spawn a bit earlier now. Blizzard has adjusted that in the last patch, so instead of at the 1 minute mark, we have the camps now spawning at the 30-second mark. And the spawn timings for minion waves has also been changed a little bit. Minion waves spawn now at the full minute and at the half minute, as we've just seen here now. Makes it a bit easier for people to anticipate when those minion waves move into the lane. Can also help you if you're playing a hero like Ragnaros and you're trying to time a lava wave properly to make sure that you're getting max value out of it. Some nice poke already from Team Rip. So far they're doing okay here. Shrine is about to activate, and then teams are attempting to make their first move. Keep in mind that obviously we don't have level 7 talents yet for any of the teams. Ophir dancing around them once again and attempting to slap Leo a little bit. And that's a lot of slaps right there, and guess what? Sven is down. Got slapped into oblivion by the schoolgirl. Ophir came in and got the big hits. Now down at the bottom of the map, the red team driven off the shrine as the Raccoons start to take control there. But they're also aiming for a quick hit at the top. Cesarbos gets stunned, and there's the kill on Probius. Very well coordinated by the blue team. Now they had to give up position at the bottom of the map, of course, in order to make that happen, but the rotation is now coming in. It was a very nice kill though. Just Falstad baiting this a bit, Diablo sitting in the wings, Brightwing porting in and going for the poly. 31 stacks to 14 with 2 kills to 0. There's an obvious lead and experience for the Raccoons, but the red team hasn't given up on the objective yet. On Ophir is very, very low. Rhaegar gets bullied a bit, but it doesn't really look too great for the Raccoons on the objective. This is going to be a punisher for Team Rip for sure. So good for them to get those kills, but they weren't able to take the objective. They have established elite in experience though. So that's definitely a thing. Now, 37 stacks currently for Probius. And we also got tower defense now on 7. Punishers can't be baited over the wall anymore. So in this case, just jumping as you would expect straight in front of it. And getting targeted fairly quickly. As Probius is joining Leoric at the top lane now. So they're going for a side lane push and not totally focused at the bottom of the map here. Falset has already set a low and eats the drain from Leo as Probius is trying to start and drop that wall. Down at the bottom of the map, the fight continues, but the blue team has already locked in the camp and Krankle might be in trouble. Yeah, Krankle is definitely dead. Krankle is dead. It's just a question of how exactly and where he dies, but it is absolutely undeniable that he will die. So he's trying to get away here, but with Disciple now also saying hello, it's obviously not happening. Still tries to play around this as best as he can and then commits Sudoku here to get a quick respawn. I mean, if your opponent locks you down in that part of the map for too long, then you're losing more value as all of those shenanigans continue. Level 10 abilities are now in. This entire full level lead for the team. Stun through the shockwave for Hogger. And we got Mighty Gust, plus in addition to that, a Lightning Breath for Diablo. Now, Hogger already sitting here in the middle as topside. Falstad is still playing a bit of a slow approach on this. 3 kills to 0, and they're working on number 4 as they're going for Leorki again. So far without success. We're trying to also line up the ult of Ophia. Shouldn't do enough damage. 99 stacks for Diablo. I suppose it's fair to say that he's going to get his baseline completed in a moment and will be ready for the next team fight with it. No surprises on level 10 for Team Rip. Only question is, of course, what exactly is Probius going to choose here. Probius currently sitting all the way up at the top lane, so I suppose it's a little bit low. Down at the bottom of the map, Diablo, first of all, he completes the quest. Has now that extra life. They're trying to bully Jojo a little bit. Hasn't done anything yet, and Probius goes straight in for the pylon overcharge on level 10. So, next objective should soon be announced too. It's game number 1, obviously. I mean, there is a loser's bracket, but the teams would love nothing more than move on straight towards the winners final if they can win this particular one. Now, we still have Team Rip trying to push structures. They have Probius, they have Junkrat. There's a lot of tools that can take minion waves out pretty easily, so they're going to try and make that work as best as they can. While going towards the side lanes, but there is of course a global against them, so Falstad should be the one that always tries to catch up with them if they are able to sneak away and then appear on lane. When it comes to damage numbers, I mean, Probius is sitting at 76,000 siege damage. Blue team with an attempt to steal the camp. Probius is coming in, Leo is on his way, they're fighting for it, they want it, and Hogger is low. Gets pooped around, there's the ult from Ophia. Nice damage and zoning them away completely. Ophia still dies though. They initially killed Probius, but the battle isn't over. Seems like Falstad is the next one to get dropped. Got murdered by Rhaegar as everyone is on the run. Leorki gets attacked and somehow makes it out of the fight alive. The red team is low. They are definitely low, and of course he lost the camp as I already talked about earlier. Leo somehow is able to get away as he was nearly killed by Hogger. But we have an active shrine now at the top lane. So this is what the two teams are now going to focus on next. And time to find out whether or not the Raccoons can bring that fight back. Because the initial lead goes to Team Rip, who obviously have already taken one Punisher early on. So one Punisher was already claimed by the red team. And let's find out if they can take down another one. Falstad still sitting in the middle. The blue team already has level 13 talents. They're slightly ahead on the talent count. Rip is going to catch up on that soon. Falstad could actually go into some pretty nasty gusts from that position on. And it seems like that's exactly what he's trying to do. Falstad is moving in. Here comes the gust. They're trying for Probius, and they get that kill. Probius is gone. That's the second time that the Protoss has been eliminated. And the blue team is looking at a solid amount of minion stacks. 31 to 16. So I suppose it's fair to say that we're going to get a Punisher for them. Frozen Punisher on top of that. We got the shield battery now for Probius. And the push through the top as in the middle. They were aiming for Leorki again. It nearly got him here. So, oh, they might actually still. Sven is a bit low. Has a nice drain going on Diablo though and is still alive. The same cannot be said for Joanna, who just died. So Jojo down. The rest of the red team on the run. Diablo nearly catching Junkrat here. Hogger hasn't given quite up on that yet. And Brightwing is pushing in the middle. Procs Inspire on the minion wave. So nice damage from him. And while Brightwing is attacking, we're now seeing a similar move made by Morenas at the bottom of the map on Falstad. Diablo still covering the place here. Brightwing saying hello again. And they are able to get away from this one as Disciple also joins the fight. Still the battle at the top with the Punisher. And Falstad, as I already said previously, is now attacking the bot lane. With the auto attacks, he procs the Inspire ability on the minion wave. Probius will deal with it eventually, but there are structural problems now for Team Rip. They have lost the topside fort, and they've lost a lot of towers and also gates, not only here in the middle, but also at the bottom of the map and at the keep. Probius gets killed again, but it's a double kill as the cannon takes out the birdie. So, 7 kills to 3. Level 16 talents are now in play for the Raccoons. And, yeah, they're doing okay here. They're still a full level ahead. That's something that they've maintained ever since the early stages of the game. So, one hit after another. And, yeah, it's working. Down at the bottom of the map, it's obviously more about mercenaries now, too. And we'll see what they're going to be able to do with that. Here comes Brightwing again. Yeah, they could go for that poly, but Leo also with another drain on Diablo is appearing. Probius on the way. Falstad could also fly in. The battle is really raging on. Falstad on the fly starts to move in from the top, or tries to. Ancestral on sorry, not on Leorki, on Jojo, but she still dies. Got slowed down way too hard. But there it is again, that counter kill. Lately, it really feels that every time Team Rip loses one of their heroes, shortly after that, they take one down too. There is, of course, the fact that they played more or less the entire fight without level 16 talents, so that made things much, much worse for Team Rip. We have 44,000 damage now from Junkrat. Probius is sitting at 27,000. Yeah, Nofia is sitting at 43k. And they're still fighting it out at the bottom of the map, with Leoric becoming the target again. He already died well, actually only one time, my bad. It's Jojo that died 3 times, and Probius died 4 times. So, the wonders of the Probius pick are so far nowhere to be seen. There's some really solid siege damage from Probius, don't get me wrong. But then you look over to the blue team, and we essentially have the same thing on Ophia. And then also Hogger plus Diablo are not looking too bad when it comes to just raw siege numbers. So, yeah, not too shabby. Experience advantage still on the side of the blue team. You can see where that exactly is coming from. Minion experience, they're nearly identical. So on the macro play, both of the teams doing a great job catching the lane experience. Gust, after the Riptire appeared, they kill Diablo, Leoric. So this was actually a nice one. Not only did the Gust blow the Riptire back, but you also isolated Leorki even further, and they were able to get another kill on him. Falstad is again pushing at the bottom of the map, and this is really the big problem going up against a comp like this. Inspire buff plus Mercenary Cam, and Falstad gets mad value. The red team hasn't even reacted to it, and Morena's just sitting there saying like, well, I guess I should move back. They should be rotating here and stop me. But the honest truth is, they're not. So, while the blue team has control over the shrine and takes the lead there, Falstad is just staying at the bottom of the map and is pushing the next minion wave in. And that is going to help them to claim that bottom fort. The birdie has finally made a move towards the top, but it's a bit of a desperate attempt here by Team Rip now. They're trying with the Attune from Leoric. That didn't work out. So now the rest of the team was moving for Diablo, who just controlled the choke point. And now we have 27 stacks to 14. There's the Gust from Falstad. They're forcing the battle again. Big damage coming out. And the Ancestral is too late. Rhaegar gets destroyed. And there's Leo dead too. So it's the Raccoons again with kill after kill. Doing an absolutely stellar job here and they have pulled massively and had experience now. If previously they held an entire level lead over the opponent's team, they've now extended that to 2 levels. And they can, of course, take the fort in the middle with ease. Falstad moving down to the bottom of the map is essentially guaranteeing them that they also drop the bot lane fort, which means the entire outer ring of defense will be gone. And that leaves us only with Keep standing on the side of the red team. So game number 1, despite the fact that they were finally able to get their Probius pick, is thus far not looking that great. Crankle gets burned crispy and goes down. Yeah, crispy and tasty. Jojo is gone, and that is kill number 12. 12 kills to 4. Falstad flies in, they gust Junkrat, he gets bullied around a little bit. The Ancestral saves him barely, but Leorki is dead once more. Junkrat is able to get away. Blue team is also dropping a bit low, so they need to be careful, but they're still engaging on Probius, and they get the kill. They get the double, as Orphea shows no mercy and just slaps Rega around a little bit more. So yeah, big plays here. But this was the big one. Leorki is the first one to fall, then they go for Probius. Now even Falstad has been eliminated, so yeah, it's a disaster. The keep at the top lane is going to fall 100%, so that's the first keep in the game removed. And with only 1 defender on the map, they are aiming for the core here. Keep in mind that every single lane is currently being pressured by the blue team. So the Raccoons, they continue to amaze. What a fantastic team. The aggression that we get from them in every single tournament is such a pleasure. They go again for the 5-man team wipe. And this is 1-0 in the best of 5 series here at the tournament. The Raccoons with a stellar performance in map number 1 here in Infernal Shrines. Nicely played, GG, and congratulations. We're going to head straight into game number 2, but before we do, once again guys, if you enjoy the coverage on the channel here, if you enjoy the match, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. It also helps to boost the game to an even wider audience. And of course, it helps to get people back into Heroes of the Storm, as the algorithm recommends the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past. So again, before I continue, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Appreciate it. And with that, we're heading straight into the second map of the series. Well, game number 2, Sky Temple. So, Sylvanas is immediately banned as we're heading into the second map of the best of 5 series. Great performance from the Raccoons on map number 1. So, they did an absolute stellar job there. It was really surprising to see Team Rip struggle this much. And I mean, again, I totally believe, obviously, that other teams had issues with that Probius strategy that Team Rip was playing. There's no other explanation why Probius was banned so many times against them. But I think it's fair to say that Probius didn't really have an impact on the first map of this series, and if anything, was farmed a lot. So the Raccoons with a fantastic adjustment. And I know I've said it before, but I have to say it again, watching the Raccoons play is always a ton of fun. They are super aggressive, they play a pretty cool style, and they really shook up the tournament dynamic and meta. We always had our established teams at the top, basically, and then the Raccoons and some other teams started to come in and shook things up completely. Team Rip is actually another example. They're a little bit overshadowed by the Raccoons in some of the events, but generally speaking, Team Rip had also a big impact. Now this time they're also playing with Dino, as some obviously have already pointed out. That's also why Exodia for this tournament is called Exodia Light, just as a little bit of a side note here. But we get Hogger as our first pick now that we're heading into Sky Temple. I'm kind of curious. I feel like Sky Temple was always one of those maps where you could get away with a bit more of a cheeky composition. So I want to see if one of the teams digs deep into their bag of tricks and pulls out a little Asmodan or two. Asmodan is still a bit of a conundrum to me, because Asmodan has been played multiple times and with a lot of success. I just don't know if this is really, you know, something that will be established as, maybe not meta, but a valid pick. Because in a lot of those cases, the hero was chosen when the team was already in the lead, so it felt, you know, that they were gambling a little bit too. They were like, okay, let's see if this works out for us. So it takes a bit more to just have a few successful games to say, like, yes, this has changed the meta. There are a lot of theoretical arguments in favor of a pick like Asmodan, obviously. You have seen more Zul as well. The added importance of wave clear is obviously a huge point in favor of both of these. But is it really something that teams think is good enough to justify a pick in whichever scenario here? We'll see. The playoffs are going to answer a lot of the questions. It's obviously the first tournament on the new patch. We're going to have many more in the future. There's already the next tournaments planned out, basically. So time will tell, but it will be interesting. We get Ophia again. Red team has decided to not ban her out, so Disciple took her once more. Obviously an absolute key hero for Disciple. I talked a bit about it during the first draft, but he made Ophia part of the meta, at least for the Raccoons, but other teams have started to also imitate that a bit and picked her more often. And Disciple is still making it work, and if you don't ban Ophia against him, then he's just going to say thank you, pick that hero up and do his thing with it. Team Rip, obviously, quite a strong team. You have Crankle at the front, Dino's now playing there. Cesarbos was the player that played Asmodan and others for them. Now they're starting on Sky Temple already with a double global. So if they, for example, now pull in Falsat as well, all of a sudden we're talking theoretically triple global. ETC, by the way, banned because Crankle really plays a lot of ETC. There's my Falsat pick, by the way, so we did have a triple global. They're going to try and focus on the macro game with this. And with ETC, they could have had a side laner that has stage dive as well. So add even more to the mix. But very curious what the last pick is going to be for them. And how they're going to approach this game. And of course, for the Raccoons, the question is now also how are they going to deal with this. It's obviously quite telegraphed what the red team is intending to do. So how are they shutting that down? Muradin and Greymane are our final picks for the Raccoons. The blue team in the lead, of course. And let's see what we're getting for Dino. They could always swap heroes around still. So it's not guaranteed that Dino is actually playing that particular one. But let's see. So we already have a lot of globals for them. A bit more damage after a throw from Garrosh in particular would probably go a long way for them. But they need to put a point on the board. And they're trying it with Genji. Final pick for Team Rip. Ladies and gentlemen, map number 2, Sky Temple. Rabbit Raccoons in blue once more on the left and in the lead as we have Murenas on Greymane. We currently got Ubi on Hogger. Scorch is playing Rhaegar. We have Lopaka on Muradin and Disciple on Ophia. On the right side of the map, Team Rip with Basilisco playing Hypershift on Brightwing as the level 1 talent. We get Crankle on Garrosh, Dainu on Genji, Sven is playing Dehaka, and we have a Cesarbos on Falstad. So, lots of globals, lots of macro heroes now for the red team. It's a little bit reminiscent of the plays that we've seen from teams like Fnatic in the past. Big question will, of course, be how exactly are they going to play this? I mean, how is this going to work out for them right now? And I'm kind of curious. Can they make it work? The idea is obviously that, ooh, first of all, you shouldn't lose heroes. Oh, and Crankle nearly didn't make it. But yeah, the idea is obviously to rotate around the opponent as best as you can. Come in, try and hit the side lanes, trigger Inspire on those minions, and then just raise down structures. And once that we have multiple objectives on the map, as in temples or anything else, you can of course make those quick rotational plays and try and claim them too. While they steal the Siege Giants, Muradin has been double checking to see what's happening over here. They would of course have expected the opponent to take their own mercenary camp, which so far hasn't really been the case. So top side, that push could actually already get a bit nasty. If you have a camp and your opponent doesn't, that normally sets you up to take multiple structures out. And that's what they're trying to do here. Garrosh, Brightwing is portaling in. They want to collapse onto their targets. And they might, and they do get Greymane. Greymane is gone. Ubi might fall too, is obviously waiting for his cooldown here. And if he doesn't get it back in time, then poor Hogger is going to get absolutely destroyed. And I suppose he is going to die one way or another. So Ubi is dead too. That's 2 heroes down. Cost them 1 tower and half of a gate. Yeah, don't lose too much more here. But that is already nice for Team Rip. It's basically an inverse of what happened in the early game on map number 1. And they get a 3rd kill. Yeah, poor Ophia. Gets caught and quickly wrecked. Now, Team Rip is also going for a lot of camps right now. We have an early level 5 for them, so they established a lead in experience. With the level 4 talents, we also get Shuriken Mastery for Genji. And it's an interesting start into the game. This is all happening before we even have a temple up on the map. So, for the Raccoons, it was pretty obvious what would... I mean, again, they started all of this up with Brightwing plus Dehaka. And if at that point you are the Raccoons and you don't ban Falstad, then you're just simply saying, hey, even if they go for a full-on macro team, we don't care. We can deal with this. This is fine. We'll handle it. And so far, well, they haven't handled it. They might still be able to pull it off, but time will tell. So, up at the top, Hogger, all alone against Dehaka, Genji, and as it turns out, Garrosh. But still totally okay, as now we have the first temples in play. And immediately, Ophia is going for it. But the Raccoons, by the way, once again, true to their name, with the Raccoon mount, at least on the side of Disciple. I haven't double-checked Lopaka's mount yet, but they've been pretty diligent in the past with their mounting choices. And I'm totally here for it. That's one of the things that I like about them. And then, as I say it, no. Wrong mount, dude. Lopaka. What a disappointment. That's not a Raccoon. That's also not a Raccoon. What is happening here? Oh my god. That's 2 yellow cards for sure. Remember the days of old when they still cared, when they still had passion for their team and they all played with Raccoon mounts, and right now we see this? Oh boy, that is just not cool. This is a bit of a disappointment. I mean, I'm not even angry, I'm just disappointed. Clear yellow card here for both of the players. Disciple, the only one that goes old school, and Morenas, even Morenas. I mean, honestly, this is just disrespecting the name Raccoon. Totally not cool. I think I have to talk to those guys during the break, because this is something I didn't expect. Like, where's the integrity? Where's the integrity, guys? No integrity over here. Unbelievable. So, the exchange in shots from the temples. We haven't even lost any structures yet. There was damage done at the top fort, of course, and also in the middle. But it was a fairly relaxed objective. Not too many battles that were happening there. We have Hogger still topside against Dehaka. That 1v1 hasn't changed. And it's more about them getting camps now. Immediately Disciple down at the bottom of the map and doing his own thing now here too. So we'll see how much more they can pull off as Dehaka is starting to say hello. Goes for the drag, but that's a bit of a Sudoku move if I've ever seen one. So yeah, Sven gets hit hard and should die. Garrosh tries to save him and comes a little bit delayed. Comes in and he's just... Nope. Not happening. So Krankle is just immediately on the way back. He's like, isn't happening. Absolutely not happening. Ooh. Falstad is flying in. Yeah, well, there's our triple global. And that's a triple suicide if I've ever seen one. They are still thinking about getting that camp, but they're not getting it. Falstad is able to get out together with Genji, but Brightwing has been eliminated, so now we have 2 kills to 3, and the experience lead has gone over to the Raccoons. So they're a bit ahead on this. Ophia is now pushing down at the bottom of the map, has the minion waves there as well. Jumps past the 4 to proxy the wave, and the Siege Giants with solid damage. Genji is coming in. Ophia has probably stayed a bit too long there, and yeah, she at least is going to die. I think both of them are likely going to fall. Muradin is abandoning her eventually, and now Disciple is just all alone. They're ganging up on the schoolgirl. I mean, there's always a little bit of a weird statement, honestly. I mean, you have to be careful what you say on YouTube these days, if you don't want to get that quick ban. So, it was all consensual, more or less. I'm sorry. But yeah, so Ophia goes down. Does she even have a schoolgirl skin? I haven't even... basically everybody runs it anyways, but he might not have one. So Dehaka's down at the bot lane, gets the shrine topside. Fort has been taken out, and by the way, for the red team, most of the forts are now gone, or at least super low. One fort has been dropped, the other ones are just mega low. Here comes the hit, Sven, and I have to double check the skin. Yes, okay, we're going schoolgirl on off here. Okay, so there we go. And Hogger pogging past the gate here. So they're getting the fort in the bot lane, and they're also getting the control for the shots fired towards the middle, which means that they're going to drop another fort. So the blue team is once again pulling ahead in game number 2. Not necessarily as much in experience or kills, but when it comes to just controlling the map, they are doing a much better job at this point. So, gotta say, Team Rip, they are playing a better game for sure, but they gotta step it up a little bit if they want to turn things around here. Insta bullet to the face of Garrosh. They steal the Siege Giants away from them. And now they are making the play for, well, first they try to go for Garrosh, but it turns out that Greymane isn't really suited for that team fight and goes down. The fight turns on the other doggy and Rhaegar falls as well. And somehow the red team gets out of this without losing a single hero and is starting to chase even more of them. Disciple is in trouble again, dies, and this time Muradin is not gonna get out of this either. So only Hogger survives. That stinky little Fleabag didn't even try to help them out in that fight. Hogger was just sitting there like, you guys are on your own, I'm sorry. But I don't care about you, I don't like you, so there we go. And you know, this is something that we already called from the beginning. So Hogger is essentially currently, I mean, he's a traitor. He's just abandoning his teammates, and you know what it started with? You know how we got here. They all chose different mounts. Yep, that's the sad truth. The moment where they could have unified, where they could have shown their solidarity to a common cause, they started to slowly abandon it, and then when it really mattered during the big team fight, this was once again just exemplified and they broke apart. That's the problem here. Right there. We called it early. We called it super early. It was telegraphed. So, yeah, it is what it is. Now they have to start fighting from behind again and try to make up for that little blunder. So let's see if they can once again band together, or if they're falling victim to the global squad on the side of Team Rip. With Falstad, Brightwing and Dehaka, they have that mobile attack squad and they're using it. And let's not forget, while Genji might not have global, he's certainly mobile enough that he can very quickly jump between those lanes. Now, structurally, this is still the big Achilles heel of Team Rip. They are ahead in experience right now, and they're way ahead in kills with 8-2. But structurally, they are far behind, and at the end of the day, that's obviously what matters on the map. We have 23,000 damage now for Genji, 20,000 for Afia. 3 deaths on Afia, talking about her. Yeah, still trying to slap Genji around a bit. I mean, don't we all? If you could slap around one hero in the game, who would it be? Who's the hero that you hate the most? That if I would tell you I'm gonna lock you with a hero in a room and you can just slap them around for like half an hour, who would it be? I honestly don't know. Like, I feel like I'm kind of forced to say Anduin or Brightwing. But Brightwing, I mean, you get a Fly Swatter and the Brightwing is gone. Anduin, that feels like child abuse. So I think I'm probably opting for something like Hanzo, if I'm completely honest. Yeah, it could be Hanzo. I'm not sure, but yeah, everybody has their favorite there. Now, we have a level 16 coming up, but I have to say, I'm a little bit... Let's take a look at experience. I'm a little bit surprised how close these guys still are, considering the difference in kills. If you look at minion experience, basically the same. Mercenary experience, the red team is ahead. Where they're trailing, that is in passive XP and structures. Those structure kills make such a big difference. Now the team fight is coming in again. Rhaegar with the Ancestral. You don't want to fight against 16 here, so that's definitely a thing. Gotta be careful with that. Genji, as usual, just nibbling on the edges and hoping to prep some kills. Fall set now at the bottom of the map. Triggers the Inspire buff. But the minions are taking out very, very quickly. Wave clear reigns, of course, supreme. We got both on 16. Muradin jumps in. They want those hits, and Krankle is low. But the red team is just moving back slowly. Doesn't change the fact that structurally the blue team is still ahead. And thanks to all of that passive experience gains that they're getting, they are actually pulling ahead in XP again. So it's really the team fights that they're the biggest problem. And there's another kill that comes in as Hogger gets ganged up upon. This is that mobility on the map. The triple global allows you to make plays like this. And as the death timers rise, these plays are becoming more and more effective. Ooh, that ult went nowhere. Dehaka misses the ult, but it's a 4 versus 5. And they're forced into a fight that they definitely do not want to fight. So that is a quick kill against Rhaegar, and well, that's 10 kills to 2 now. And at this point, it starts to matter, because now we're not looking at a double temple. Now it is a single temple on the map, and that is where Team Rip is making their stand. So that's all of the forts on the blue team side destroyed. They're drawing even in structures, and the Raccoons, they have to start making some plays. They had a bit of a grace period here because of all of the structures that they destroyed, where they could mitigate some of the problems that occurred, but now is Schluss mit lustig. Now they have to actually start making some proper moves, or it's gonna be lights out. They want to get a kill on Sven, and they do! What do you know? They get that kill on Dehaka. That's a nice first step for them right there. And they're obviously going to try and get a bit more done as the Siege Giants and Minion Wave push through the bot lane. And the team now has an opportunity to get the final shots on the temple in the middle. That's going to open up the wall a little bit in the mid lane. Nothing that the blue team can do about it. Only one camp up. They hug it down for another 30 seconds, of course. And as the map opens up and more forts get destroyed, that also means that we have, of course, a lot of potential control through the globals. But there's also the boss, and this one is a freebie. 5 versus 4 on the map. They easily go for it. And that is now 13, 14 minutes into the game as we have a boss push through the bot lane. And you can tell they want that keep. And they want Brightwing. The Fruit Fly looks for teleport target, doesn't find anything, eats another stun, and Brightwing is obliterated. Trash Wing is gone. Got dropped into the trash bag and then slapped around a little bit and finally removed from the game. And that's a keep gone. And you know what? That boss is at full health. They're going for game here. Falstad already with a gust. That didn't have any consequence though. That did nothing. It didn't even waste time for them. Boss is still up right there. Dino gets attacked on Genji. Has to be very careful. There's the Ancestral on Althea. I'm not quite sure if they can take the core down, but they can definitely damage it severely, and they will. And since they have Greymane, if Greymane doesn't die, they can take that core for sure. 50%. Falstad is gone, and that's the 2-0. The Raccoons coming back with a bang here into the game and establish a 2-0 lead in the best of 5. Coming up next, we have the third map of the series. If you guys enjoy the content, also consider to head over to patreon.com/Khaldor, support our efforts to keep the Heroes of the Storm esports scene alive there. It's the best way to support the channel. Huge shout out to everybody that is already a supporter. You guys are really helping to keep this alive, and you help us to host event after event for the game here. Especially after Blizzard abandoning this already 7 years ago. It's absolutely fantastic that we're still able to do this here. So big shout out to all of the supporters. And again, if you enjoy the coverage, if you would like to support us, head over there and check it out. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the next game. Match point. Game number 3. We go to Towers of Doom. And now the first thing that I obviously did after the second map when we joined the lobby is the most important thing here for the series. I mount shamed the blue team and called out the unacceptable negligence that they showed in game number 2. Disciple immediately said, I always have the mount. And I was like, well, you're fine, but the rest of your team is going to get a yellow card here. So we go into Towers of Doom now. Unfortunately, we have the Vikings banned. I would have loved to see them again, but Team Rip already was eager to play them. And by the way, now finally that Orphea respect ban here. So that was long overdue. But let's find out what the red team can pull off, because they actually looked pretty good on Sky Temple. They did. And then the Raccoons, they just came back over and over again. Thanks to the early lead in structures, they were always in experience range, and once they got the kill on Dehaka, they decided to go for the boss. The bot lane was already opened up more or less. The keep was down to 50% of its HP at that moment in time, and they just collapsed on the Brightwing, got another free kill, and then just snowballed the entire thing through the keep towards the core. So, I gotta say, a well-deserved victory at the end. After all, it was a valiant effort by Team Rip, but it was just not enough to break through this. Now, we get Hanzo this time. ETC and Malfurion are already taken for Team Rip. Keep in mind that Crankle's ETC was actually banned out multiple times against him. On the last map also here from the Raccoons, so Crankle locked that in early for that very reason. It gives you a little bit of flexibility also in the draft in general, because you can find yourself in a spot where you have, let's say, stage dive over mosh pit if the game demands for it, if you need that global. We have Malfurion, Which is actually something we've seen a lot from Scorch in the past, but in this tournament it's not really his go-to pick anymore. Ubi's Zeratul gets banned out too. That's, I believe, now the second time that they banned Zeratul here. And I'm still curious if at some point Team Rip is trying to go for one of their ace in the whole place. They played Asmodan. They played Asmodan in the patch multiple times. Their Probius strategy, though, did absolutely not work out. I mean, not even a little bit. So that was a problem. Tracer gets banned. Fair enough. You have Malfurion on the other side. The overheal allows Tracer to go even deeper, and you have obviously a couple of really good Tracer players on the team. So they're just looking at the potential synergy plays with what's already taken here. Now, to be fair, we could also see something along the lines of Medivh being played with ETC and Malfurion claimed. That's two of the typical, I mean, counters is maybe too strong of a word, but two of those heroes that you oftentimes pick to control the portal plays a little bit. So that would open Medivh plays up.
Let the games begin.
Victory for the Forsaken.
Like that, for example. So, yes, Medivh is in. And we get Sylvanas. Called it! So, Sven is the only one that we still need. But, yeah, Medivh is going to do well with that comp. Now, for the blue team, what is the final choice? Also for Disciple, of course. We had some Alarak plays before. This is something that would still also work against a few of the players that are up against. But are they going to risk it here? The triple front line? Could be. Genji Muradin instead gives them more mobility. You have that Genji dive. Brightwing can portal in on this. 2 globals now. And our last pick for Sven. I mean, oftentimes Samuro gets banned against him. I don't think that we're going to get Samuro with this. But it will still be intriguing to see what exactly Sven is going to try and play at the top lane. We even had a Illidan play, by the way, the other day. I would have loved to see a few more experiments with Illidan in that new patch. To see if you can push structures and lanes even further with him. But Sven will unlikely go for that. Instead, we get Urel. Okay, so Urel is in. Towers of Doom is our third map. It's match point for the blue team. Let's see if Team Rip can get a point onto the board.
Prepare yourself.
The Raccoons with a 2-0 lead, and of course match point as we're heading into game number 3 of the best of 5. If Team Rip loses here, they drop down into, you guessed it, the losers bracket. We got Ubi on Dehaka, Murenas on Hanzo, Disciple on Genji, Scorch on Brightwing, and Lopaka on Muradin. Over on the right side, it's Vasilisco for Team Rip with Malfurion. We have Krankle on ETC, Dino is the one playing Sylvanas. And it's going again into Unfurling Shadows on level 1 with Sven now on Urel, and we have Cesabos on Medivh. So, this is going to be the big X factor. If the Medivh plays are well executed, then they should be able to do a lot here. Medivh in general, I mean, again, you can chase targets down super easily with those portals. You can save targets on your own side whenever they got isolated and about to be attacked. So there's a lot really that you can do if you are the red team right now, as long as Medivh is doing his job well. And then we always keep an eye out also on the baseline to see if he is able to complete his baseline quest and get the Arcane Rift done in a proper time frame. 30 seconds in, minions are spawning, or mercenary camps are spawning, which means that we have right away a play made by both teams. Doesn't seem like anybody is getting aggressive and tries to invade the other team's camp. So both of them just making a play there. Okay. And also at the same time, careful, that is Genji gone. Nice! So, we have first blood for Team Rip. Off to a good start, I'd say. Portal is out, Muradin immediately turns around with a Stormbolt. That must be a little bit annoying. Just like think for a second if you have a portal there, right? And you jump through the portal and literally the first thing that happens is that you appear on the other side and a Stormbolt just smacks into your face full force. I mean, in the US, that can absolutely ruin you. You have to go to the dentist, you don't have health insurance, and all of a sudden, you know, not only are you completely broke, you also have to sell your children into slavery. Not really a great feeling there, and all because you walked through a portal and you trusted Medivh. Long story short, just don't trust Medivh. Who knows where that portal leads? You don't know. So he might just cheese you. You need something you can threaten him with. I don't even know what you would threaten Medivh with, but you need some leverage. That's all that I'm saying. Sylvanas is getting some easy stacks together on level 1. We have a few stacks for Medivh, of course, too, but very slow progress from him. Level 4 talents kicking in on both sides, which should give us possession again. No, this time he's actually going for the full build. Last time we went for a bit of a hybrid approach from Sylvanas, but we are getting unstable poison on level 4 now. Okay, so interesting. Mirrodin is jumping in again. Another Storm Bolt hits home and hits ETC. To be fair, if you're ETC and you get hit by a Storm Bolt, you don't care that much. That's a phase that you can't ruin any longer. Only a mother can love that mug. So it's all good. ETC is not going to care too much. This is why the teammates are usually trying to hide behind him. Not only does he scare opponents away, but at the same time, if he's getting hit by a Storm Bolt, there's basically no damage done. I mean, if anything, it might even improve the first impression. So there's that. Urel at the top, the Space Goat, with a couple of pumpkins. Haka saying hello here. The first altar phase is now popping up. Yeah. Medivh moving down to the bottom of the map here. ETC with a couple of hits. Alright. Everybody fighting for number 3, I guess. Yeah. And they just collapse on Brightwing, and Brightwing gets absolutely crapped on. Gotta love it. I mean, they just dropped the portal on the Fruit Fly and then obliterated Brightwing. And then they turned on Hanzo and took him down too. So that is 3 kills to 0, and even Genji is in trouble in the middle of the map against Sven, and should probably be a bit careful. I mean, Disciple, I appreciate the ballsy play here, but dude, be careful. You don't want to get taken out by the Space Goat over here. And they're pushing at the bottom of the map now too. They're running Sylvanas, so that really helps. Lost Soul for Sylvanas now as well. Yeah, full on Shadow Dagger build now for Dino. This is actually something that we haven't seen from him in a while. The last few times that he picked Sylvanas, he always went for a bit of a mix there. Didn't drop Possession, for example, but right now all in on this. 31 stacks on his level 1. And Dehaka up at the top lane, now that the blue team is slowly starting to fall a bit behind, has to join the fight at the bottom of the map, is tunneling in, but Mirrodin is already about to die. Jumps out and is actually able to escape. The camp should be claimed by Team Rip though. Mirrodin is waiting for the trade to kick in to get some hit points back. Ubi gets attacked again. Mirrodin decides that it's time to make a bit of a move, and all that he does is run away into a different direction. The problem though is that Medivh just died. So Medivh went down. Ooh, Mirrodin! And he gets away. Nice. Malfurion gets murdered down at the bottom of the map. And they try to go for Dino. And Disciple gets the kill. How did they flip it that heavily? 3 heroes down on the other side. ETC gets a kill on Hanzo and then dies too. Now this all started essentially off with the kill here. 14 stacks for Medivh, and then he gets killed. So with Medivh eliminated, that was actually pretty big. That's 14 stacks gone, makes it much harder for Medivh to get his quest completed. But of course there was a lot more that happened during that battle. Both of the teams are now on level 9, and yep, it got spicy. Very quickly in this. 16,000 damage for Sylvanas. Portal is there once again. They're not jumping through it right away, but they're definitely threatening Scorch enough that Brightwing decides to fall back here. Hanzo's at 22,000. 4 kills to 5. We're heading into level 10 slowly, and it is an absolute slaughter right now. 5 minutes into the game, and we have 9 kills. Mirrodin with level 10 is now going for Avatar. We get the arrow. The Dragon's arrow is in. Mind Control, Mosh Pit. And it could use it right now. Arrows coming out, only hitting ETC though. Disciple needs to be a bit careful and staying at the edges again. Dehaka says hello, needs that lick, but the ley line shuts the place down. Could still make a play for Urel, I suppose. They're trying to isolate Scorch a bit, but the damage is still coming through here. And we have Sylvanas now with 61 stacks. Medivh is starting to build up his stacks on the baseline again. Blue team tapping the fountain and now trying to get back into the battle around the altar. 32 to 36 points on the core thus far. Disciple, a bit of a problem for just a second. Mirrodin with another Storm Bolt. Hits it and hits it hard. As we're seeing 28,000 damage for Hanzo. Just working it in with one arrow after another. Dehaka at the top. Mirrodin hiding in a bush. And jumps straight on Malfurion. And everybody else is instantly on Malf as well. The mind control came out. Sylvanas moved in. Their team, the Mosh Pit, interrupted. E.T. See ya. And he's gone. That's a 5 versus 4 now. And they won the front line. They go for Urel. Pops the ult. The arrow completely missing on the way straight up to Russia. Hitting Moscow in just a moment. Duck, bloody duck. Sven is also rushing away, and the shots are being fired. Both teams now on 32 points on the core. There we go. So, we are in for a bit of a banger, aren't we? The 2-0 score in total, and then Team Rip starting to completely step things up a little bit, with the Raccoons not giving up an inch. 16 stacks now for Medivh. That's where he was already earlier. Gets 17 here, works a few more in. Try to go for Urel again. Muradin, no Skullcracker by the way in this game. Jumps back out. And yeah. We have a half-level difference between the two teams. So we're in for a good one here. Now, next altar phase gives us 2 altars with a vertical spawn at the bot lane. ETC already wanted to jump. Disciple, yeah, the root. He was able to get away. But here comes Muradin. Waits with the Stormbolt. There's the slide. And instantly the portal by Medivh. Once again supplied right there. And of course Sylvanas is still building the stacks on her level 1. So the damage increase is slowly coming in here. And he's getting the numbers together. We'll see how much of an impact that's going to make later on in the game. They go again for Malfurion. He's obviously the prime target. I mean, not only is he squishy as hell, but he's also the one that is super impactful, since once he is eliminated, the stain is missing for the red team. And then you can basically win any team fight by just dragging the battle out, going to poke a bit, and do your work there. So, once again, in the middle we have the attack coming through. Altar spawn is now happening. 13 available for the Raccoons. Not so much for Team Rip yet, but they're going to get it in a moment. In time for the fight on the altars. And, well, with that we now have, again, ETC trying to control the space around the altar. Gets the slide in the mosh pit. And the X-Strike from Genji allows him to zip out. Great little play there by Genji after the mosh, but that fantastic root. And there's the double kill. It's Urel that makes the plays for the team now. Urel with a big move here. They go for Muradin, mind control, and that's a triple, baby. Nice. And of course they can get another channel, but they want that bell tower first. So really well done here. There's the ley line, the root follows immediately, and then it's easy kills. Job well done. Now they get the bell tower down at the bottom of the map. So this one gets destroyed. And of course, on top of that, we now have pumpkins being claimed. We have the next altar channeled through. That's 5 shots fired. Team Rip is doing everything that they can to ensure that they're not losing the match here. They want to force game number 4. 31 stacks for Medivh. He's getting very close to completion. Only missing 9 stacks now. And we have 102 stacks for Sylvanas. So also working those damage numbers in. But with them now controlling the map and the flow, thanks to that bell tower at the bottom, we could do a lot here. So slowly, steadily, the poke still happening. They're trying to control the space around the pumpkins to get a few more shots. 1 already in. Nice. Can they escort more? Unlikely. But 1 is already, I mean, not enough, but 1's plenty. That's a good start for them at least. So, yeah. Slowly but steadily getting a bit of an edge thanks to the advantages that they've been working for the entire time. The one thing to probably also highlight, though, is that we don't have a massive experience lead for the team yet. That's the one thing to still point out here. Because, again, they have an early level 16, but the gap is small, very small. So we're not talking about a full level of a lead here or anything. But they get mind control again, and Genji gets wrecked. The full combo unleashed against the Overwatch hero, and that is him gone. Hanzo still with top damage in the game. Sylvanas is starting to catch up a little bit. They're going for the slide, but the Haga gets away. Blue team is now down 2 points on the core compared to what we're seeing for Team Rip. Both teams now with level 16, so even talents again. Leyline is out. The root on the ground. Malfurion. Well, first they go for Hanzo. Then they turn on Malfurion. And it's a dance party. ETC makes them happy. Comes in and provides the music, and they just can't resist. So another 5 shots fired as the altar gets channeled. There's obviously another one up, but they want the bell tower at the top too. And all of a sudden, Team Rip is just going for a huge amount of momentum here in game number 3. Getting closer and closer to a potential victory on the third map to force map 4. So they're looking good here. For the Raccoons to bring this back again, as they have done in some of the previous maps, they need to perform a little miracle. The channel may be a tad too early. It only provide 5 shots and not 6, if I'm not mistaken. So this means that we have 16 to 28 points on the core right now. And the blue team retakes, I mean, at least the bot lane. Experience difference, minion XP, that's where the red team has the biggest disadvantage. This is really what keeps the Raccoons more or less in play, that they had such a huge advantage on minion experience. This is basically the only side where they are currently looking better on XP. So if not for that, it would be an even bigger disaster. But with them continuously losing more and more heroes in situations like this one, it's just a huge problem. Because right now, when you're thinking about it, we have 12 kills to 5, and it always feels that the Raccoons are just playing with 4 players. I mean, every single time. There's just 4 heroes for the blue team, and Team Rift is running in with 5 and is now trying to take that bell tower again. The pumpkins are already sliding in. ETC, they lock him into a corner. They want the hits here. Morenas is on the run. Brightwing in trouble. Arrow out. Morenas, and he's dead. Muradin jumped in to say hello, but they still have Brightwing floating around in the back. Yeah, and the mind control misses. So does the Stormbolt. All zoning tools that Team Rip is currently using. Muradin has to jump out as well and makes the save. But this is a bell tower gone at the bottom of the map again, and now we're talking 6 bell towers to 2. It's a 1 level advantage, and to make matters worse, it's a triple altar phase. So if you're getting a decent lead here, you're all of a sudden getting closer and closer to locking in a victory in game number 3. So right now the ley line gets dodged out. Channel attempt by Disciple up at the top. Red team hasn't channeled a single altar yet, but they won kills. They complete the quest on Medivh. Took him a while, but there it is. 15 minutes in, and Medivh is done. And if all of the altars are lost, then it's game. That's the first 6 shots fired. Level 20. Genji gets interrupted as he's trying to cheese this one. And this could very well be game. Sylvanas is at the top lane, now getting the second altar. That's putting them down to 4 points. Even if you just go for the boss after that, you can end the game with it. So that's a massive problem. Last stand from the blue team. Arrow onto Malfurion. Muradin! Sylvanas isn't even here, and they still lose the fight. Sylvanas wasn't even with them in that moment. Genji is gone, and there is absolutely no doubt that Team Rip is now putting a point onto the board. 5 versus 3 on the map, plus level 20. They take the Haka down too. Brightwing is at the bottom of the map, and this is all she wrote. Team Rip wins it on Towers of Doom. They take game number 3 and force a 4th game in this best of 5 of the winner bracket in the playoffs of the Eternal Conflict. GG, well played. Map number 4. It's another match point for the blue team, but we finally have a point on the board for Team Rip. So Krankle and Dino, they were able to make it happen on Towers of Doom, and they actually did pretty well right from the beginning. This time the Raccoons did not have a chance to bring it back, so they struggled a bit. Now as we're heading into our 4th map, they can of course still take it. So if the blue team wins here on Dragonshire, then it is just straight up them heading to the winner bracket final, whereas the red team would have to play through the lower bracket. So we'll see if they can pull it off. Might also affect the ban patterns a bit. ETC, for example, taken out right now. They don't want to play against Krankle on that hero again. Medivh played a huge role, but a lot of this was obviously a combo of Medivh plus ETC, others that came through the portal quickly. So they're getting rid of ETC. The one difference that we saw in bans basically on Towers of Doom was that they sacrificed one of their bans for the Vikings, and this kind of cost them. So Ophir gets addressed again, Team Rip has let her through in Game 1 and Game 2. They lost both of them. So on the third map, they then decided to ban Ophia out. And they do the same thing here. So apparently a lesson learned after Disciple showed them how it's done. And had a lot of fun in those first 2 games. But we'll find out if that is enough. We now got a ban on Junkrat, which makes a lot of sense. We talked a little bit about Junkrat, especially in the context of Dino playing him and how much of an impact that hero had on other maps. Blaze now gets banned too, and we have, of course, that first pick for the Raccoons. And the question is simply, what are they going to pick here? For Disciple and Ubi, it's going to be super interesting to see what they are going to choose. We have seen multiple Zeratul bans now, which are clearly targeting Ubi. But we also had the team playing with Alarak a couple of times. So there's definitely a chance that depending on how the draft goes, that we're having someone like Disciple say, okay, I'm going to play Alarak here. We're playing a triple frontline now against the opponent. We start things off with Sylvanas though. Great for that side lane pressure. Just push in with a couple of minions, trigger that Inspire buff. Eliminate the towers and the fort, take those all out, and you can do quite a lot there. And we've seen Sylvanas really in action on the last map as well, even though I expect a different build now in this particular game. Chen as an early pick, and we get Rhaegar. Okay, it's a little bit of a zoo over there on the red team side. So yeah, we get Chen, plus Rhaegar here for a bit of additional camp clear. But a very early commitment to Chen, so they did not want to see him banned out. Hogga is going to be the one going up against him, and then we have Brightwing for Scorch, as we've now seen a few times. But I like the very heavy commitment by Sven to go for Chen instantly. The only thing that I need to make me happy here, in addition to that, is them picking the Slug. Go for Abathar right now, and then Fat Illidan jumps in with a symbiote on his head. That would make things even more epic. Highly unlikely, unfortunately, but it would be kind of cool. Seeing some Abathar plays is always cool, but we haven't seen the Slug once in the new patch, and even in the old one. Very, very rarely played. Not totally unheard of, though, but unlikely. Maybe in the next Meta Madness we're going to see some Abathar plays again, who knows. So, Diablo gets banned too. That leaves us with the final ban for the series, and again, potentially the match for Team Rip. Team Rip has to perform a full reverse sweep. I like this though. So again, last time I predicted Medivh, they didn't ban Medivh out, he was taken. This time I'm like, nah, actually this would be pretty cool with Abathar. And the Raccoons, they're looking at this and they're like, you know what would really suck here? Going up against Abathar together with that. So how about we just ban him out? Makes me a little bit sad. But, well, I guess great minds think alike. So the Raccoons, they also thought that would be a really nice combo. And honestly, the more I see from this draft, the more I think that Abathar would have been great here. I mean, look at that Greymane pick, for example. If you don't only have Chen that you can jump on with the symbiote on Abathar's side, but then also add Greymane, that's a fantastic tool to have too. So there is really a chance that they would have picked Abathar here. Makes me a bit sad that their choice was denied, because it would have been cool to see the Slug again. Hail to the king, baby. But for the blue team, now that they just thwarted that off as a potential danger, Zeratul this time not banned, they still don't go for a pick. We have Dehaka, Hogga, and Tyrael as their frontliners, as they're now going into an additional global, plus then Lopaka on Tyrael. And that leaves us with a Sesabos. So again, this is a match point. So for the red team, they really need to dig deep on this and make sure that they're not making any mistakes. So they have the choice, of course, now. And Dragonshire, this is where they have to win it to force game number 5. So what hero is going to round out that draft in order to facilitate that? They go for Medivh again. He was successful for them in game number 4, so they're going for another Medivh game. Let's see if it works out. Game number 4, we're going to Dragonshire. Game number 4. That's a bit of a wild ride, I gotta say. And I also checked out on the Twitch live stream the prediction rates for the two teams as we're heading into the game, and it is pretty wild. I mean, for the longest time, it was basically a 50-50 split between who people thought would win. Now we have the Raccoons taking over pretty heavily, so it seems like more and more of the viewers are leaning towards the blue team, who's starting here with Disciple on Hogga. We got Ubi on Dehaka, Scorch on Brightwing, Lopaka on Tyrael, and Morenas on Sylvanas. Over on the right side, down in the betting market, we have Vasilisco on Rhaegar, Crankle on Jojo, Dino on Greymane, Sven on Chen, and Sesabos again on Medivh. So, interesting little touch here. The Medivh pick in particular boosted confidence for the people that put up their predictions. But I think after some consideration, most people were still like, hey, the Raccoons, they played such a fantastic first and second game. They're gonna somehow pull it off once again and do their thing. So, well, we'll see if they can. Chen, proper skin, moves towards the top. I kind of forgot, by the way, in game number 3, to double check on the mounts. And that is still not a Raccoon. Lopaka.
Nope.
Raccoons look different. That's a Raccoon right there. Morenas with a Raccoon. Scorch, okay, he's just flying around. He doesn't have a Raccoon. Ubi the same. And I suppose when we're talking about Disciple, he at a minimum is going to also run a Raccoon here. But I am definitely disappointed in Lopaka. I expected a little bit more from him. Apparently my expectations were just too high. So it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, Disciple now down at the bottom of the map trying to go for the next camp. They already took the Siege Giants and are attempting to utilize them. The aggression up at the top as they're making the play for it now. Trying to also drop that wall a little bit, of course. Jojo's coming in to help out. Chen was a little bit alone. And at the bottom of the map, they sniffed out that attempt to go for a camp. Hogger still wants it. And Medivh has given up on this. Okay, so for a second they thought that they could steal the camp away. Didn't turn out that way, but still. Oh, the lick! Ubi, master with his tongue. He is absolutely amazing when it comes to tongue play, as you could just see there a second ago. And again, you don't have to take my word for it, you can just simply ask his girlfriend. Siege Giants and the mercenary camp from the bot lane are now all pressuring the wall, and that's the entire thing pretty much gone. So nicely done, even with the assist now coming from Jojo. That's still tons of damage. And of course on top of that, Brightwing made it out of that fight somehow. So yeah, not too shabby. It's actually kind of nuts that Brightwing was able to survive. Meant to the top lane, but that could have backfired heavily. Hogger's trying to retake. Sven in trouble. And Chen is gone. That is first blood in favor of the Raccoons. Sylvanas already back up at the top. Went for possession and uses it to take that minion wave down. And if nobody comes in to help, then this wall is also doomed. So they're making a bit of a play towards the middle and are starting to attack this. We have instantly Tyrael here going up against Dainu, who is playing Greymane, of course. Medivh with decent stacks, sitting at 15 right now. And a bit of a lead already for the blue team. They've done well. Taking out some of the structures and getting that one kill, so half a level ahead. And, that tongue. Ubi couldn't decide. One on the left, one on the right. He went for the middle, missed them both. Bit of an unfortunate move there. But down at the bottom of the map, War Master Chen still doing his thing. Best Chen skin and tint, by the way. It's still true. So, yeah, this is the one that real boss players go for. War Master Chen and then the black and white one. Krankle goes down at the top lane. And Greymane gets licked by the Haka and gets murdered. Nicely done. They nearly got a kill on Rhaegar too, but he was able to escape. But they still are there with 4 heroes now, and Medivh alone is just not going to be enough to stop this, especially since Sylvanas is of course also part of the push. So that's a wall that gets destroyed within seconds, and now they can start and do some damage on the fort itself. Tyrael provides the shield also for the minions. Inspire buff has already kicked in as the heroes are attacking, and that is essentially 50% of the hit points gone. So very, very quick play by the Raccoons. You get the kill, you're already on lane, you're starting to push for the structures, you have the minion waves, and now they even make the play for the first Dragonite of the game. But Jojo has contested the top shrine. Might not be able to hold it for too long though. Brightwing is jumping out. And down at the bottom of the map, Hogger is also just poking around, with Disciple realizing that he might not be able to do a whole lot here. But gets the assist from Lopaka and from Scorch, and I suppose at least the mercenary camp is going to get claimed by the Raccoons. Chen wants it, Medivh arrives, and that switches things massively. But the Dragon Knight gets taken. Lopaka still lingering around. They go for Sven. He gets the shield, and boy is he lucky. Gets away. Now, they paid for it with the life of Hogger, but they took the Siege Giants away from the opponent, and they got the Dragon Knight. I'm still calling worth here. I am absolutely curling worth in that situation. Sylvanas now attempting to push down at the bottom of the map. Yeah, they're fighting it out here already. One more Dragon's Breath, and the Argas retreat. I think they could have played that a little bit more slowly, but yeah. Here comes Judgment, Mind Control, and Sven is still alive. Yeah, a little bit too forced. I like the combo attempt though. Going in with the Judgment, just tease up Sylvanas for Mind Control, and that extends the CC train by a lot. So you find yourself in a spot where you can do some serious harm. But it wasn't quite enough to get them the kill. But I mean, they got close on this. So they got quite close. By now we have also the next move being made for the top lane. Level 10 abilities are now available on both sides. That gives us Ley Line, the Bullet, Blessed Shield. So yeah, we'll see what else they get. Red team is now returning the favor by stealing some Siege Giants at the bottom of the map. But top lane, different story. Right wing was a bit in trouble. Talking about trouble. Ubi. That's quite a lot of that, but should be able to get away here. Yeah, moves through the Bermuda Triangle and gets out. But the fort at the top is gone. That's actually the first structure that gets eliminated in the game. Sylvanas is pushing at the bottom. Sylvanas keeps pressuring here. She could do a lot of work, but she might also want to join that fight. The Raccoons could also pin the opponent down with another Judgment, as they do. The lick on Greymane, and instantly Rhaegar is ready. Drops the Ancestral, or this would have been likely the end of Greymane. This push, on the other hand, that's a bit of a problem. Inspire buff is getting triggered. That's 35% additional attack speed for the minions and movement speed. They go for Medivh. He has a completed quest, but Cesarbos still dies. So he doesn't lose his stacks on the baseline. Has completed that earlier. Oh, and talking about completing things. Jojo completing her level 4. She died, but that was still worth it. Just one death for Johanna to complete Subdue. That's massive. Now you have essentially nearly a stun on your punish, so that's great. What's not so great is that they're losing another Dragonite. Disciple is sitting in the middle and is gonna channel the statue. So we have one level lead, even a bit more for the Raccoons now, with Dragonite number 2 in their hands. And since they already destroyed 2 of the opponent's forts, they're now working on number 3 in the mid lane. So Raccoons pulling farther and farther ahead. There's some really cool moves and little quests that were completed for Team Rip. But essentially, when it comes to the game itself, it is the blue team that is just doing the work. Camps, waves, top lane, bot lane, Judgment, and the Ley Line to shut it all down. Nice play by Medivh. Big impact for him, of course, too. But just not enough to net them anything here. The Dragonite is playing this much, much slower now. Just using the Dragon's Breath. This one is already gone. They didn't get a lot of the objective. Still maintaining that lead in experience, so I suppose that's the good news. But they can pressure a bit more aggressively for mid lane now. Blessed Shield. Did that miss, or did that only connect with one? That seemed a little bit iffy here. I don't think it really bounced. So I'm not sure if they connected properly. Sylvanas gone. Hero stunned out. I mean, he must have connected. Sylvanas is gone, so they got a kill. This is the second one in the game. But there's another hit with the lick on Jojo, but they don't have the damage here. Hogger is trying to get out. Shockwave, and he's dead. I mean, they definitely overstayed their welcome here. A couple of the ideas were good ones, but ones that backfires and you can't get a sneaky kill, you need to retreat a bit more quickly and just call it a day. Them not doing that in this situation is costing them a lot of ground now. And it allows for Team Rip to close the gap to an extent. 17 stacks now for Wizened Duelist on Greymane side. And down at the bottom of the map, Crankle now also moving in, defending with Jojo. Fairly easy for him. Mind Control, but the insta attack, and Hogger isn't back yet. There's the Ley Line. They steal the camp. Judgment, and they're totally fine here. Morenas. Oh, he actually gets away. All right. Well done. Really well done. Morenas with some sneaky Sylvanas plays here. Uses the gate, jumps back and forth between the two sides, ensuring that nobody can follow and get a kill on him. So that was well coordinated. Job well done right there. Now, the red team is starting to bring this back a little bit. This is match point, obviously, against them. So they have to, if they want to have a chance to proceed to the winner bracket. But I like the tenacity here. Camp at the bottom of the map is going to get attacked too. So they're going to go for the next one here. We have, in the meantime, still level 16 talents on the horizon for both of the teams, but they're going to drop a little bit faster for the blue team. Another Dragonite is now also up for grabs. Big pressure in the middle of the map already. That fort has taken so much damage earlier, and structurally the red team is behind by quite a bit. So that means that the passive experience gains that we're seeing for the Raccoons are pretty massive. So they're trying to attack at the bot lane again with the mercenary camp. I kind of like the idea and the approach here. They just have to be careful that they're not forced into a fight too aggressively that they don't want to battle. So it did some damage. Blessed Shield gets negated as it gets thrown out. So this time no value. 16 available on both sides now. Chen is going to try and kick it up, I suppose. Gets stunned out. One more stun. And they get the Ancestral through to him. But boy, that was clutch. Lopaka. Greymane wants him. Doesn't get him. Brightwing is saving the day. We have some super close plays now on both sides. I mean, damn, they are really getting quite crazy over here. That stun lock on Chen was nasty. Sven could just take his hands off the keyboard and be like, alright, I guess that's it for me today. Rhaegar, he delivered though. The Ancestral came in time. 45,000 damage for Sylvanas, and ooh, that sucks. They messed up the two ults. Disciple is still able to get out here. Yeah, Leyline and Keck at the same time. Big engage by the red team. Blue team still totally fine, but it's Disciple that finds himself in a bit of trouble. Could still get away here, and does. Okay. There's also a Catapult pushing through the top lane again, so this is always a bit of an issue. And the Catapult is going to start taking that wall out. Nobody's dealing with it. That wall will likely fall, at least partially. Again, Disciple attack. Brightwing. How did Brightwing get away here? Crazy. Hogger at least this time didn't make it. But damn, that Brightwing got out is just bonkers. Catapult is still working it, but the minions are going to overwhelm this eventually. So there's another ley line. Medivh setting the team up once more. Tyrael gets attacked this time. And there's the explosion. Try to go for a quick hit and, well, gets at least one connect on a hero. But Sylvanas is now pushing in the middle. Can start to drop the fort. Might actually be able to pull that off with the minion wave. Chen is attempting to stop it, but the Inspire buff was a little bit too strong, so that one's taken out. Top side, yeah, Dehaga was pushing here too. The problem is that the red team has, of course, a lot of wiggle room here. Brightwing with a jump, and is able to get away again, at least initially. Scorch isn't quite out of it yet, and gets eventually killed as he's trying to Z back to base. But, yeah, this is a little bit... I mean, honestly, this sucks for the Raccoons. This is fantastic for Team Rip. They're getting kill after kill here. But if you're the blue team, then you just can't afford to stagger deaths the way that they're currently doing here. I mean, seriously, now the Haka gets killed as well. They're just feeding them one kill after another as they're trying to play around the objective. But that is now the Haka gone for basically another 50 seconds with one fort at the bottom of the map eliminated and now going towards the top. And with Greymane in their midst, they can easily take this one out too. So this is a huge problem. These heroes just dying over and over again all over the place is problematic, to say the least. That's too many structures eliminated. The gap in experience has now been closed, and what looked like a solid lead for the Raccoons has been negated. Siege Giants at the bottom of the map. That's at least something that they have now. But, yeah, here comes Brightwing. The Haga isn't back yet. And once again, mind control, okay. But the portal. And of course, this fort doesn't make it either. Fort is gone. Siege Giants with a bit of damage at the bottom of the map, by the way. One of the towers was already annihilated earlier. Now the gate is gone. They're actually chasing them a little bit in the attempt to take Chen down. He has to kick out of the fight, and does. Still a camp at the top lane that you should probably deal with, at least partially. And those Siege Giants, yeah, can't send any heroes down to assist that push. If for that, they could have maybe done a bit more here. No judgment used yet, just saying. Lopaka still has it available if they are trying to force it. Dehaga's at the top and controls the shrine. But they're retaking the bot lane. So, yeah, it's getting much, much closer here. Level 20 is available for the Raccoons, but it's a very small window and unlikely that Team Rip is gonna be forced into a fight. They're going for an easy camp at the bottom of the map before Storm Talons are available on both sides. A kill on Greymane, by the way, would also go a long way here. Done with Wizened Duelist, just removing that damage output a bit would of course help them. Yeah, Mind Control missing this time. Chen, Judgment, good timing. There's the Isolation. They try to get more CC on him. The Shockwave is also ready, but the Ancestral gets dropped and here's Medivh cheating with the ley line. And he's locking everybody down. That Sylvanas gone. And I'm telling you, Team Rip is just pulling a fast one on them. 20 versus 20. It's a triple kill. At this pace, we're going to go to game number 5. At this pace, game 5 is definitely a thing. There's still a push happening at the bottom of the map that could cost them another tower, but that's obviously nothing compared to what we're seeing over on the left side, as the 5-man is going for the keep and maybe even further than that. Dehaga's trying to get them a Dragonite, and they could get that DK, but they are realizing that it's going to be a push for the core, so they're heading back quickly to try and defend and buy themselves a bit of time. And they have to buy quite a lot of time, because Tyrell is back in 10 seconds, but the shield on the core is already gone. Team Rip, they're pulling it off. What a fantastic series. What an awesome match between the two teams here. The Raccoons with some fantastic efforts early on, but it is Team Rip that locks in the W on Dragonshire and forces the final map in the best of 5 series here in the winner bracket of the playoffs. GG. We're going the distance. Final map in this series. Off we go. Aldrich Pass is our map. They had the choice between Aldrich Pass and Tomb of the Spider Queen. And we are going to Aldrich Pass to determine the winner of the series and to determine who moves on in the winner bracket and who drops down into the losers bracket. Are they banning Medivh? That's the big question. Medivh was the one that now ruined 2 of their games, you could argue. So are they going to ban him now? The interesting thing for me personally is that whenever something like this happens, where a team pulls ahead with a 2-0 and the other team then catches up, I'm really sitting here thinking, now at least go all the way. It always feels a little bit disappointing when then on the 5th map, all of a sudden they're losing the run. So we'll see how this is going to work out here. But yeah, imagine just getting to that 5th map and then you just lose it anyways. Medivh gets banned, so that was the big question and it just got answered. We have another big map, obviously, with this one as well. And yeah, let's have a look. First pick. They're going for Hogger again. So Hogger has been claimed. And over on the red team side, we'll see what they are playing around with. But I kind of like what we're seeing here. I mean, teams are obviously reacting to what's being played and what works out, what doesn't. The Orphea ban on the side of Team Rip is already showcasing this quite nicely. The first 2 games, Orphea absolutely wrecked them, and then after that they just said, okay, no matter what's going on now, we're continuing with the ban pattern on her side. And here comes Sylvanas and Rhaegar as early picks. So that essentially already means that we have slight push potential, and of course if you are taking either the objective or you're claiming the boss, you can enhance these pushes further with Sylvanas. And keep in mind that Sylvanas has now been picked at least in... I don't know if she was picked a lot in game 1 and 2 anymore, but game 3, 4 and 5, she's now been chosen every single time. So on the blue team side, Brightwing is actually something that Scorch has now picked a lot. And we get Lopaka on Murden again. Yeah. A little bit intrigued if we're going to see, let's say, a Samuro or something from Sven. This is something that on this map has been picked by him a lot and could be banned out too. There's actually quite a few teams that on a map like Aldrich Pass would in the 3rd spot ban out Samuro just because they don't want to deal with it. Zeratul, yeah, they're still not eager to have Zeratul go up against the squishies here. They don't want to deal with that at all. And right now, what we're getting for our last and final ban, not only on the map, but also in the entire series, obviously, That's going to determine quite a bit. So, what are they targeting? Are they targeting Sven? Krankle? Keep in mind, they banned ETC a lot. They haven't banned him so far, so that's still a hero that is technically up for grabs. And they ban ETC, yes. So they let Sven have whatever he wants, but ETC is not going to have a chance in game number 5. Now, does that mean that Sven is going to go for Samuro? Are they going to go for some triple frontline? Or are we going to see something different? Sven Samuro is fairly annoying. He got played a lot in the past. You know already they go up against Hogga. If they go for that, it's very likely going to be a triple frontline. There's Maiev. That shuts immediately Samuro out. But we have now Tyrael, Maiev, so already a really nice start and also a huge CC chain that they can establish before Sylvanas then comes in with either Mind Control or Wailing Arrow. Could also, of course, go for a similar combo of what we've seen in previous games with Judgment into Mind Control. Falstad for more global action. Dehaka is also still up, so could be taken. And we get Cassia. Okay, so Falstad as a global plus Brightwing. Honorably mentioned, I assume. I always have trouble Brightwing to classify Brightwing as a real global, because normally when you're talking about a global, it's mostly the ability to either jump onto an empty lane or to hold experience there. But Brightwing is more so about joining someone else somewhere else. So, yeah, can jump in with Falstad onto a lane and then make it a 1 versus 3. But still a bit different of what Falstad and potentially Dehaka offer. And we get Thrall. So, our final pick, Maiev, Thrall, and Tyrael. Alright, game number 5, everybody. Let's check it out. Let's go Aldrich past the final map in this winner bracket match between the Raccoons and Team Rip. Raccoons against Rip. Well, here we are. Over on the left side, we have the blue team that now lost 2 maps in a row and now has to face off against their opponent on the final map. Morena's on Falstad. We got Lopaka on Muradin. Scorch on Brightwing. Disciple is playing Cassia. And Ubi is playing Hogga. Over on the right side, Team Rip with Vasilisco on Rhaegar. We're getting Krankle on Tyrael. Dinu's playing Sylvanas again. And we got Sven on Maiev plus Cesabos on Thrall. Stacks for Cassia, by the way. Cassia's gonna stack it up. Thrall hasn't made a choice yet. Usually we get Trolling Thunder, and there it is. Gets locked in. On level 1, we have the Ardent Restoration for Tyrael. But yeah, Cassia is definitely going to work those attacks a bit. When it comes to the mount choices, it seems, Lopaka is still going for the Wolf, but we have a couple of Raccoons by now. So the team is, at this point, trying to, you know, do their thing and find that rhythm again, find that synergy again, band together as a unit to take out the opponent. But, yeah, should be wild. Dino already on the way back out as he got attacked by 2. There's the play that I talked about earlier with Brightwing now jumping in and trying to make this an even bigger advantage for them. Muradin. Stormbolt zoning out Krankle a bit. Lopaka trying to anticipate where that's headed and missed it slightly. Disciple, that's first blood. Yep, Disciple is gone. That's a great start for the red team. And if they can pull off the reverse sweep, that would be fantastic for them. I mean, this is what everybody is always looking for, right? These reverse sweeps are one of the coolest things that you can actually pull off. So at this point, we have top side also Cesabos with a bit of an attack going on. They have a slight lead in experience now too. And Hogga gets killed next. Okay, that's kill number 2, guys. Team Rip is opening up game number 5 with a bang. And they have Sylvanas, so that means insta push for structures. So they're starting to drop the tower HP. They're going for the gate here. And it's all working as intended from the perspective of the red team. After all the momentum that they built up in game number 3 and 4, they now have a serious shot at moving on to the next round of the tournament and dropping the Raccoons into the losers bracket. 13 stacks currently for Cassia. And over in the middle, Sven getting attacked pretty quickly there, but with Maiev also... Ooh, eats the Stormball, okay, well, never mind. I was just about to say. Make their own move here. Thrall also with a level 4 stack quest, so Frostwolf pack active. That's of course to work around that a bit. And down over on the bottom left, first of all, we have the camp getting claimed again. Brightwing to the rescue if anybody needs, or if they're jumping on Sylvanas, as they're obviously trying to. Morenas is baiting a bit, and Lopaka is sitting at the side now that Rhaegar has sniffed him out. Falstead makes a move forward, but Sylvanas already moved back. The whole idea here was to try and bait Dino out a bit so that Muradin can move in with the Stormbolt, and then Brightwing would have set a low too. But that didn't really come together. So, yeah, in the middle, there's still quite a bit of brawling going on. With the 2 camps taken by the teams, everybody is hoping to destroy the opponent's camp first and then push their own into the towers. 17 stacks for Cassia. Nothing crazy. Not bad either, though. And, yeah, top side, that's interplay between Sylvanas and Falstad is still there. This time it was the red team that attempted the gank. Brightwing was also helping out. And, yeah, there we go. Morenas now down at the bottom of the map. Ubi starting to move in a little bit, but the hits keep coming. With the chain lightning. 2 stacks on Thrall's Frostwolf pack. So, yeah, slow approach on this. Disciple. There's no heals. Muradin might be able to help out enough. And Disciple is actually able to get away initially and then runs into just too many opponents and then eventually dies. Brightwing gets pinged, but I suppose that there was no cooldown available. Or that could have been a save. We have 20 stacks now, and the blue team is also facing off against an opponent that's pushing for their prisoner camp. Tyrael snuck in and started the channel. So, for Team Rip, things are going well. 3 kills to 0, getting a bit of a head start on the objective, going for their own camp again. So they're going through all the right motions here and making some moves. And it's working nicely. I mean, not much more to say. 2 kills against Cassia, 1 kill against Hogger. Roughly 10,000 damage for Sylvanas now. The Banshee Queen doing her thing. Dino playing a very safe top lane. He knows that they want him. Several times they already set up little ganks there and were trying to take him down. But he's playing a very passive game there. He's not overextending himself. He's just playing it very calm. And not too aggressive. And then the caster curse kicks in. So, yeah. Sylvanas is dead. Dino's gone. To be fair, Falstad died for it. So I suppose we can't quite speak of the caster curse. Falstad had to literally int in order to get the kill. So does that make it a mistake on the side of Dino? I don't really think so. If it's a counter kill that follows a second later, then I think it's fine. That's not a caster curse. I might be in denial here, but... Now Disciple still trying to add some stacks together. And yeah, get some connects as they're making a move for the camp. They nearly have it, by the way. Those grunts barely got it, but that's only 4 seconds missing. Level 10 is so close now, though, for Team Rip. And hello, Muradin! Sundering! And he gets out. Still 2 stacks for Sesabos. Thrall still not able to complete that quest, but I think they're losing the camp now. There's no level 10 for the Raccoons, so how are they ever going to fight into this? And the answer to it is they are not. They were super close to getting the objective, but now they lost it. Sometimes this small of a window is just enough. Brightwing gets attacked again. Scorch is on the run and gets killed, making things even worse for the team. Valkyrie misses. Disciple on the run. Stormbolt connecting again. Mind Control also dodged to get a few more stacks in, but yeah, Cassia is starting to lose the stack battle a little bit. She doesn't have them. Oh my god, Ubi. That one. The zoning ult from Hogger. Falstad gets crushed as well. Rhaegar eats the Stormbolt, and Basilisk has to die here, right? Gets the heal. Don't tell me he lives. Oh my god, the dog! Look at it! Rushing out here. Okay, not too bad.
Hail to the king, baby.
They at least killed my F, so at least got 1 kill. But while all of this plays out, Thrall at the top lane is having an absolute field day. I mean, he's just sitting tight on the lane together with the Raider. He's getting a few more attacks in, works some auto attacks in. That procs, of course, the Inspire buff again for another 3 seconds. And this is looking awesome. So that quad falls. Easy kills right there. And at the bottom of the map, they're pushing too. Need to get some auto attacks connected if they really want to make sure that with Inspire they get the camp. But yeah, it starts off a little bit late. The fort is still taking tons of damage, but they're not able to eliminate it. Falstad is flying in, looks for the gas, doesn't get it. Judgment gets used by Tyrael, but Rhaegar is already out, so that positioning didn't work for Morenas. And Falstad might now be in trouble. Gets the heal from Brightwing in a second. Is still not out of the woods yet. Cassia is already gone. Sundering misses. Morenas is running circles around him. The Wolf misses too, which means that he's now set down to 0 stacks for his level 4 again, but Falstad eventually died. So it's a bit of a strange game that we have here. But if we're just looking at the facts on the ground, then it is clearly Team Rip that is ahead now. 1 level ahead, 8 kills to 2, and they've taken out 2 of the forts. It's honestly amazing for them. The Raccoons, they won 2 games initially. They had a 2-0 lead, and then Team Rip just dug in and refused to die. And now, the red team has a really good shot at advancing to the next round of the winner bracket and sending the Raccoons packing. Absolutely crazy comeback in the series. Huge 6.5 out of 10 moment for the red team. But I mean, it's not over yet. Obviously, the Raccoons are struggling, but they're not out of the woods yet. They can still make this work. They're not defeated yet. Going for the wrong one there for a second. And can they get the kill? No, they cannot. Sven is still fine. They try to get Maiev, but couldn't. Stormbolt. Yeah, Tyrael should be able to get away. Then again, Falstad, beautiful heal from Brightwing. Just in time. Had to move out once again after becoming the target. And was able to escape. Falstad still not safe. Neither is Disciple. Brightwing with another heal. Disciple gets tethered and gets murdered. And then they're just chasing. Maiev moves in again. Is trying to get the kill here. Thrall with another hit. The disc misses, but damn, they are just rushing after them. They are hunting them. It's a hunting party more so than anything else. They're really just running after them and trying to drop everything that is in their path. 9 kills to 2 now. And what a brutal game now for the Raccoons. It's tough. Cassia's stacks are also not something to write home about. It's not horrible. Not incredible though. 33,000 damage for Sylvanas and 30,000 for Cassia. The objective is up again. 1 level lead for Team Rip. And of course, we have the bosses on the map. They could be utilized as well. Cassia has been dropped 4 times. And Falstad already 3 times. So, yeah, definitely not looking too great for the damage dealers there. Huge difference, by the way, in minion experience. This is where the Raccoons just do a bit better with the globals that they're running now. So that helps them. Thrall up against Falstad at the bottom of the map. 16 soon for the red team. Yeah, Dinos. Again. Just running away there. So 16 is ready. The build around the lightning shield continues for Rhaegar. The quest on level 1 is soon going to be completed. They have the lead in experience right now and trying to translate that into some dominance around the boss. Disciple is already sniffing that one out. There's actually quite a few of the players here. I think they have to let this one go. Falstad flies in. Could still get a gust here if needed. Cassia drops her own ult and the boss gets leashed. So they are at least denying the boss to be claimed this easily. It's good news for them. I mean, if that boss gets taken that quickly while they don't have level 16 talents, that would of course have consequences. Might even damage the keep at the top lane. But they were able to deny that to the opponent's team. Now they get their own level 16 in just a second. And with that we have for Cassia, for example, Power Strike. Falstad is coming in with the Afterburner. Trying to position a little bit better. And also, of course, helps him to escape in case he becomes the target again. So they are pushing for the objective now themselves. 9 kills to 2. Couple of hits from Disciple at the same time. The channel from Ubi that gets interrupted again as they're pushing through the middle with their own camp. Falstad can try and defeat the siege camp that was claimed by Team Rip. But there's the tether, Muradin, Judgment again, and Tyrael gets instantly attacked, not able to take down the target. But they are able to go for Falstad. And Falstad falls. That's the birdie gone. Back into the KFC basket. There's some chicken nuggets for dinner. And they could go for the objective now, but they also are looking for additional kills. Still ahead in experience by nearly a level. And they're attempting to exploit that as best as they can. Having the globals and the mobility didn't do a lot for the Raccoon so far. There's the disc on Cassia. And she turns into Casino. And Muradin is dead too. Ragdoll gets kicked around a little bit. That's 12 kills to 2. Guys, there's a massive momentum train now coming. I mean, currently Team Rip is just going through the Raccoons like hot butter through cheese. Especially here in the mid lane. As they're dropping with the help of Sylvanas another fort. That's now all of the major structures on the outer perimeter gone. Maiev has moved towards the top lane to go for the boss. We have the objective being channeled. They are one level ahead. They're absolutely crushing it here. And it starts to become a disaster for the Raccoons. I mean, honestly, if you have a 2-0 lead and then you find yourself in game number 5 on the losing end, that is just demoralizing from start to finish. So for the blue team, this is more than a bit tough. Trying to come back here is going to be nearly impossible. They're playing it a bit risky by going for a mercenary camp themselves and adding the boss at the bot lane. So this is something that the team should still be able to get. Tyrael is not going to go down towards the bottom of the map. They don't have vision to know how many heroes are there. So they assume that it's quickly taken. That at least gives some pressure for the Raccoons and is most likely going to allow them to go for that bottom fort. But they have to not only defend the top lane, they got to do way more than that. Sessa boss gets hit hard by the wolf. Trying to get away. Sundering is out. Disc. Judgment by Tyrael. 2 stacks only. And Hogger gets killed mid-spin. The entire team now down at the bottom of the map. The mid-spin kill. The move towards the middle now. It's kind of funny to me, by the way, that Thrall has never completed his quest. At least not so far. They are closing on 20 on the other hand, so even without the quest being completed, they're doing well here. Cassia, nice. Tyrael. Alright. Topside keep is about to go down, so this is the first armor shield on the core remove. And then the attack coming through the middle might even remove a second. Quick reminder that in the patch, all the structures have now more hit points, 12.5% extra health. So that also is, of course, kind of important when you're trying to go for core on specifically Aldrich Pass with the regeneration mechanic. This side below, Cassia is just cleaving the hell out of them. Cassia is currently sitting... sorry, Maiev is cleaving. She's sitting on 34. Cassia is sitting at 49 damage. Boss is slowly going down. The core is going down, I should say. We have 2 keeps eliminated, which means that only 1 armor shield is still there. Judgment! Sundering! And they again couldn't get the kill. Basically, this just means that Tyrael had bad judgment in his choice. 13 kills to 2. Yeah, I'm desperate at this point. Somebody had to do it. So, they couldn't kill the final keep at the bottom of the map. But again, they took all of the remaining structures out. 82 stacks now for Cassia. She's getting damage in. The problem is just simply that they're not taking any structures apart and they're getting more and more pinned down by the opponent's minion waves alone. So if they really want to have a shot to somehow bring this back, level 20 is obviously going to be mandatory. But what they really need to do is, I don't know, get an objective or something that they can push with and then take a couple of structures out. Because things are just not going their way. We're now 16, 17 minutes into the game and it's essentially just a hunting ground for Team Rip as they're looking for more targets. They want to engage with Tyrael. He hasn't upgraded his 20, by the way, so the cooldown is not reduced. Instead, we're getting Seal of Eldruin. A little bit more damage for him as he comes through too. But he has Judgment back up, which means that they can go for another play around Judgment, Sundering, and Mind Control if they want to. Muradin down at the bottom a little bit. And there's level 20 finally. So this is the moment of truth. Can they pull something off here? We get Imprisoning Light, Power Spike, and of course Wind Tunnel. So you gotta isolate something. Someone. And then make sure that you get your kill. If they can make that work and somehow get an objective, I think there's a chance for them to start a comeback. But they have to really win a team fight and then get the objective. That would help them to take some of the forts out. It wouldn't get them on eye level with their opponents, but it would at least get them, you know, into the right direction. And close that gap a bit. And as long as Cassia just increases her stacks, the damage output is also going to increase. 80 isn't horrible, but it's... considering we're 17, 18 minutes in, it's not amazing or anything. So, yeah, here we go. Damage output 53,000 against 56,000 on the two top damage dealers. Objectives are up. Blue team is already starting to fight for it, which is basically what we just talked about a second ago. They know they need to make some moves because Team Rip has time. They have all the patience in the world now. They know the longer this lasts, the better for them. Catapults, or on this map the equivalent, is scaling into the late game. Nice dodge on that mind control. That was important. So Team Rip knows time is working in their favor. They're not initiating anything if they don't have to. But they will have to defend. The collapse down onto the bot lane. Stormbolt missed. Sundering. Judgment. Falstad absolutely not impressed. Gets the wind tunnel out instead to the safeguard to ever guard this tier. Now they turn on Crankle. And Crankle is dead. Yeah, that's gonna get interesting. There is, to be fair, a push through minions up at the top. And as I said before, there is currently only one armor shield on the boss. But as long as nobody moves past them, they're still gonna be fine. The question is more so, can they now go for the objective? So they're likely gonna let their core take more damage. But it regenerates anyways, so it's not too much of a problem. But it's all about what's happening now here in... on the next objective. Falstad is sitting in the middle and is trying to defend there. So he's gonna be fine. He's still globally enough for the team. Tyrell is nearly back. That's the next problem. That Tyrell is nearly back on the map. So they still haven't gotten the objective. They are working on it though. I mean, the time is now working in their favor. But Tyrell is on his way. And they definitely need the entire 5-man in order to make a difference here. Gust could help them to prolong things. So if they get a decent... Ooh, Shockwave. Nice. Oh, the kill! Sylvanas and Thrall both down. That's the play right there. Rhaegar gets wrecked as well. Guys, that's 3 heroes down and an objective. All of a sudden, the Raccoons with momentum. The Raccoons are with the big hits here. Imprisoning Light connects. They get Sylvanas, they get Thrall, and they take Rhaegar out. Now the objective is traveling through the map. Tyrell is attempting to slow them down a bit, and here comes the blue team. They need forts and keeps now. Maiev has gone deep to try and defend here, but the blue team is already on the move. The problem is they can't go for the core directly. I just don't see a world in which they can defeat the core with only one armor shield missing. I don't think that's possible. But they're trying. They're actually trying it. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. They need to take forts out. Hogger can retreat, but they need to take some forts out unless they kill more heroes. And they do! What the hell? Oh my god. The heroes are coming back though. Here comes the wind tunnel. Judgment is in, but they need to retreat here. They can't just continue getting kills. The core is at 50%. How on earth? Core is at Core is falling, but so does Cassia. They tried and it didn't work out. Again, it's too much. Falstad is about to go down too. That's 3 heroes eliminated and they just lost the game. Honestly, if they just moved back, I think they would have been in a decent spot. Look at the minimap right now. Top fort has fallen. Fort in the middle is also gone. They eliminated the bottom keep. So the difference between the two teams, if they just retreated, would have been a single keep. 1 keep. All they had to do is retreat after the defenders went back to defend. Now they're missing out on this. Great job, obviously, by Team Rip. There was a nice defense. I think without the 12.5 extra hit points on the core, they might have had a chance. Maybe they could have gotten it low enough to commit. Obviously, it would have been a win if there was another armor shield removed. But in the situation that they were in, it was a huge gamble. They thought it was worth it, and now it's going to be a slow death that they're going to die here. The boss at the bottom of the map is now getting attacked, and yeah, Team Rip is looking good here. But what a comeback attempt! I mean, that one was awesome. That was a really cool one. But this boss, if uncontested, is going to end the game by itself at 22 minutes in, and there is no armor shield anymore on the blue team score. Judgment now being used. They're just trying to be aggressive. Blue team, they have to attack. They know it too. But this is nearly hopeless. This is essentially checkmate. Thrall has never completed his level 4 quest, which is sad in and of itself, but I mean, who cares at the end of the day? As long as they win the map, nobody is going to care whatsoever. And here comes Sundering, the Wolf. Merlin gets attacked, Imprisoning Light gets used, but the blue team is essentially just on the run. And they nearly made it towards the core here. 16 kills to 7. What a huge opportunity for the Raccoons to win the series after all. But now it is very much so game, or at least it should be. The boss is nearly defeated though. Boss is nearly taken, but the core is losing hit points way too quickly because it doesn't have armor shields any longer. It's down to 50% HP as the boss falls, but the red team can just right-click the hell out of it and go straight for the win here. Are they going to lose some of their heroes? Gasp for falls, that is not up, or they could... oh, Rhaegar, Tyrael! But it's game. It's game. They pull it off. Team Rip with a reverse sweep. They pull it off and advance through the winner's bracket. GG.